My ex-boss fired me for insubordination, so I poached half his clients and started my own company. Hi Reddit, throwaway account because my main has some identifying info. Buckle up. This one's a wild ride. A few months ago, I was working as an account manager for a boutique marketing agency. Let's call it Crimson Creative. It was a small firm, around 12 employees. And I was managing about 60% of our client portfolio. I had a strong rapport with most clients, brought in several of them myself through networking, and was the top performer for over a year. The owner of the agency, let's call him Rick, was a micromanaging narcissist. At first, I tolerated it. I kept my head down, focused on results, and tried to maintain a cordial relationship. But over time, Rick became increasingly erratic. He'd override strategies we spent weeks crafting because he had a feeling, would yell during Zoom calls over minor things, and constantly took credit for others' work in front of clients. Things came to a head during a pitch meeting with a new client. Rick presented my entire campaign strategy without crediting me. And when I politely corrected him, he flipped out after the call. He accused me of undermining him in front of a potential client. I responded by saying, "I'm just trying to ensure the client knows who they're working with." That apparently crossed some line. The next day, I was called into a meeting and summarily fired for insubordination. No warning, no HR rep, no paperwork, just a pack your things kind of situation. I was furious but also weirdly relieved. Now here's where the story turns. A lot of the clients I worked with reached out when they noticed I was no longer with Crimson Creative. I didn't initiate anything, I want to make that clear. But when they asked where I'd gone, I told the truth. I was let go, and I'm figuring out my next steps. To my surprise, several clients asked if I'd consider working with them independently. One even said, "Honestly, you were the reason we stuck around." Rick is difficult. That planted the seed. I took a couple of weeks, built a lean business plan, and registered my own agency. Slate and Stone Media. I kept my overhead low, home office, a freelance graphic designer I trust, and a former coworker, the only decent one, who left Crimson a month before I did. Within 2 months, 5 of my old clients had legally ended their contracts with Crimson and signed with me. I made sure every T was crossed and I dotted every I, no NDAs were violated. And no non-competes existed. Rick was too cheap to pay a lawyer for real contracts. Rick, meanwhile, started blowing up my email and even had his lawyer send a cease and desist. But since I hadn't broken any contractual obligations, there was nothing he could do. One of the clients he lost was a $30,000 per month retainer account. That alone nearly covered my startup costs in 2 months. Fast forward to now. I'm running my own shop, working fewer hours, making more money, and doing work I actually enjoy. Rick is still floundering, last I heard, and has been posting passive-aggressive rants on LinkedIn about employee loyalty. Somewhere, somehow, he still thinks I'm the villain. But hey, I'll cry about it from my new ergonomic chair in my home office, sipping coffee that doesn't taste like printer toner. First update. Hey folks. Wow, I didn't expect my story to blow up the way it did. Thanks for all the support, comments, and DMs, it was overwhelming, in a good way. A few things have happened since I last posted. 1. Another client jumped ship. One of Crimson's smaller clients reached out after hearing from another company I now work with. They weren't unhappy with Rick's agency per se, but they loved the idea of more direct collaboration and lower overhead costs. So they came on board. That makes 6 total. 2. Rick tried to poach my designer. Remember the freelance designer I brought on? Rick had the audacity to contact her directly and offer twice whatever Slate and Stone is paying you. She turned him down flat, partly because I pay her well and treat her with respect, but also because she said, "I just don't like your vibe." That one made me laugh hard. 3. I got invited to a local entrepreneur panel. A friend of a friend runs a monthly meetup for small business owners and asked me to speak about pivoting after being fired. I almost declined. Imposter syndrome is real, but I said yes. The event was last weekend and I got several leads from it, one of which might become my first new client unrelated to Crimson. I've gone from being furious and blindsided to incredibly grateful that Rick fired me. I would have never had the guts to leave on my own. Final update, I think. Things have officially exploded in the best way possible. Slate and Stone is now a team of 5. I brought on 2 full-time team members and another part-time contractor. We've secured 9 regular clients, including 3 I brought in from my networking at the entrepreneur panel. Rick shut down Crimson Creative. Yep. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that Rick officially closed shop about a month ago. Apparently, he couldn't keep up with the lost revenue. And the few remaining clients didn't like his erratic behavior without anyone like me to buffer it. The best revenge? I bought his office chair. No joke. Crimson held a liquidation sale. And one of my former coworkers tipped me off. I went in and dead serious, I bought Rick's overpriced Herman Miller chair for half the cost. It's now in my office. Every time I sit in it, I smile. I never set out to sabotage Rick. I just wanted to build something better for myself. But if karma wanted to lend a hand along the way, I'm not complaining. To anyone stuck in a toxic workplace, wondering if it's worth trying to break free, it is. You're more capable than you think. Thanks again, Reddit.